You're listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The Ecosystem Approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. One of the biggest business failures that is ignored the importance of energy in marketing. Huge amounts of money have been spent on marketing, advertising, and research about what motivates people. Motivates people to buy. But this is an area that metaphysics and the ecosystem approach we excel in. If you're interested in marketing yourself or you need to promote your business, this is an important show for you. And even if you don't, listening, you're going to be able to hear, or watching, you're going to be able to hear some things that might really help you in everyday life as well.
Absolutely.
We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the ecosystem approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, can you help us? That means me and the audience. I am not the business person here. Understand the importance of subtle energy metaphysics in marketing, well, in general.
Well, you always say that, and yeah, I mean, you don't. The terminology for you is just additional detail that you don't need to know.
Okay.
But
okay.
But the truth is that we both can go into any business.
Oh yeah.
And sense the energy and get information that lots of businesses pay thousands of dollars for all the time, and usually those consultants that they pay for and those experts give them bad information. So what's the importance? The root why this is important for you today is that people make choices and decide what which action they should take, whether it's for a business or if you're a professional and you're trying to market yourself within a company,
or even if you're trying to start a small business,
right?
And you're not a professional, but yes,
the energies. What motivates you is based on the energies.
Yes,
and the business of marketing, they've spent billions of dollars, doing focus groups and surveys, trying to understand. And for us, it's so dumb, just dumb. Because
I would not have chose that word, but okay.
And I guess this is an exciting show for us because it really gets to the heart of why everyone should understand and train themselves in metaphysics.
I agree.
We spent all this time going to, an MBA is all about analyzing data,
right?
Masters in business. And when I got out of the Army, I had college benefits, and I already had a business degree, and I could have easily gotten my master's degree in business education. But I knew back then, even before I was doing this work, that analysis is not what I wanted to do.
Right.
It didn't feel right to me, and I went a different way. But so anyways, when we understand the energies of something, if you're a business person of any kind, if you're trying to market yourself professionally, oh my gosh, this is important information for you.
Okay.
So,
and by the way, it's far more direct what we do as opposed to paying thousands of dollars, if not more, for a marketing expert.
Exactly.
Okay.
One of my favorite stories and I'm not even looking at the script anymore, but
Okay.
one of my favorite stories is we both were aware of a business that they were having problems with retention. And retention is a form of internal marketing. In other words, if people are if quitting your company,
Correct.
you haven't marketed the benefit of working there very well. So it's just a different way of marketing, okay, internally.
Okay. Yes.
So they hired a consultant, and this consultant came in and basically I don't know what they paid for it. I know it was a lot of money. It
Okay.
was, thousands of dollars, and they came up with they did these surveys. They went around and asked people a lot of questions, a lot of the employees questions, and they were kind of dumb questions. I mean, it's like you could have assessed the situation at this company all along, which we understood.
Right.
We understood that the problem in the company was that the head of it at the time was kind of a cheapskate, and he didn't trust his people,
Right.
and he didn't want to pay them, and he treated them like children.
Well, and the other part of that is that he always felt that he was being going to be cheated in some way.
Right.
Yes.
So the energy we could, that was the energy of the business.
Right.
They spent a lot of money. They figured that they came back and gave them. I didn't know exactly what the response was, but they did these really trite. They started putting signs up and things like, "Oh, is this a great place to work?" and things like that.
Right.
I'm almost. It's to me, it sounds so stupid. If you've ever been a consultant and done that, they probably figured out that it was the CEO
yes.
was the problem. But they suggested things like incentives, financial incentives.
Right.
Right. They put in place more of a structure for to giving the employees that. But they completely missed the point, and that's what we're trying to talk about today. So understanding energy, reading energy gives you a perspective that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Right.
There was a local grocery store where we used to work.
Where we used to live.
Yes.
Yes.
Where we used to live and work. Yes. But and we were kind of in a small town in a big city. So once you came into town, you were kind of there.
Yes.
And because of traffic, it kind of isolated you in that small town. So this guy had a commanding audience. His prices were a little more expensive, but he was, you just walk in there and he was there. It's like you wanted to walk out the door. He was angry.
He was. And the worst thing is that the nearest store after that was at least 5 to 10 miles away. And so the people that lived in the town were kind of trapped for the, I need this, or I forgot to get that at the other store.
Don't have any milk, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't have any bread. Or,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I have to say this because he targeted me more than once. He did not like women, and he would do things that were very poignant, I believe is the right word, that he would target someone that would come in the store.
Patronizing.
There you go. That's the word I was looking for. Exactly. And it was awful. And he couldn't figure out why he was losing business. Well, wait a minute. Who's the biggest customer in a grocery store? It's women.
Exactly.
I mean, talk about anybody or almost everybody knows that is the biggest customer. So why would you turn or make it difficult for women to shop there?
Well, exactly. And so here's the thing, and we're going to contrast the energy versus programming.
Right.
Programming is what we do today. Everybody does programming. We tell you how to think. So if you have a problem, you Google it and you get 5 ways to solve this problem.
Right.
That's programming, because it doesn't consider the energy. Right. It says it treats the world like it's a machine.
Right.
So it might treat your business like a machine. So if you say, okay, I need to get more clients in, or I need to get more business, or I need to increase my prices. How do I do that?
Right.
Well, they give you one size fits all.
Mm.
What we say, then that's programming. And problem with programming is it narrows your focus. When you start thinking of programming, you think of a problem and then a solution.
Well, and that's true. But the let's see, the knowing that we have about energy is energy doesn't narrow. It's not a narrow field to look in. It's quite large, and it might be way out here where the real problem is.
Exactly. And that's a visual. Okay. You were
Well,
moving your hands. So if you're listening,
realize, yes.
she was moving her hands on the, and sometimes it's nice to watch us as
Yeah.
opposed to listen to us. But and because we do a lot of things with our hands.
Right.
The point is that when you're looking at energy, there's no boundaries. When you're programmed, when you say this is the problem, then all of a sudden you've eliminated. When you think you know what the problem is, you've eliminated all potential solutions that are out farther, that are energies
that are really affecting.
Right. So you're looking for a formula or a solution that's a formula,
correct,
to solve the problem, and that never works.
Right.
And that's why using energy is so much more effective than otherwise.
Exactly. Now, should we talk about the Myers-Briggs thing right now, just real fast? I went to work. I was just for a part-time thing. I went to work for this company, and I all in all, I took 3 Myers-Briggs tests. And the part that I'm laughing at is because I was told that I failed the test 3 different times.
And truly, you can't fail a personality test. But what he was saying is that they had some sort of predetermined expectation of what the perfect employee for that job was.
Exactly.
And you weren't fitting the bill.
I wasn't fitting the bill. And here was the most ironic part of it, was that there was nobody else that this person had, the boss had, for this job. And so he said, well, I guess you're going to have to do. At the end of the week, this guy came to me and said, I have to tell you, this has never happened to me before, but I'm going to tell you that I was wrong, that I'm never going to give the Myers-Briggs test again, because I gave you a job. I told you what I wanted. You not only did exactly what I wanted, but you did it even better than I expected. And therefore, I never want to give the Myers-Briggs test again, because I almost didn't hire you. And I would like to know if you would like to stay on permanently. Well, you can all guess. I did not. And so my point that I'm getting at is that being told that you failed a personality test is one thing, okay, but the other thing is that the guy didn't use his own intuition, or
he used a program solution.
Yes,
and therefore he was just trying to fit her into the solution for the Myers-Briggs. And there's nothing wrong with Myers-Briggs.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a programming solution.
Right,
it's
exactly. And of course it was pretty funny, that I failed a personality test. Jason, what are the key points of this segment?
At the core of marketing is the ability to understand energy and how it works and how it affects and how to affect it.
Okay.
Understanding human nature comes from using the ecosystem approach and applying it to your particular situation. And marketing at its core is understanding your customers. And the best understanding comes from knowing their energy. And the ecosystem approach helps you understand energy first regarding yourself, and then how your business feels to other people.
Exactly. In the next segment, we're going to talk about things you can do with this energy approach to marketing, whether it's for yourself or your business. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about things you can do with this energy approach to marketing, whether it's for yourself or your business. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the ecosystem approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, what can you do using energy for marketing for yourself and your business?
The first thing is to always assess the situation.
Right.
The benefit of what we do using energy versus a programmed approach, which is very narrow. You say, what's the problem? You try and assess the problem.
Right.
And once you define that, then you've all of a sudden you've narrowed your focus and you can't see anything outside of what you've assessed the problem to be.
Correct.
But when you take an energy approach, you look at the energy of something, and that gives you all sorts of information that, one of the cliches today is you have to think outside of the box. Think outside of the box. Everybody wants to think outside of the box.
But in programming, it doesn't give you that option.
Well, it's a form of hypocrisy because they're using a tool that puts you inside the box.
Yes.
When everybody's saying, well, I'm thinking outside the box, when in fact they're actually thinking in the box even more and more.
Right.
So taking a programmed approach always limits your view, and you become a machine in search of a solution that's already defined by the problem.
Yes.
We've been seeing the world lately so much differently because we're seeing it in terms of energy. Our vocabulary with each other is an energy vocabulary or a feeling vocabulary. So when we meet someone, we're and it's not on purpose. It just happens naturally. We're reading their energy.
Exactly.
And we can see all these different aspects. We met someone the other day when we walk our dogs, and there's a lot of people here that own houses up here from the Bay Area, and they come up here on the weekends.
Correct.
They have their cabin here, so to speak. And they were very friendly, and we could tell they wanted to become closer friends. But we could see that it wasn't going to work out just because, we take care of mom and what those
makes it difficult,
that sort of thing. But, we saw all this about them, just having a few minutes of conversation. If people had an energy approach, you could see so much more than you do right now.
Exactly. And by using an energy approach, it enables you to not only learn about others and learn about situations, but it also really helps you learn about you. And I'm going to say it plain flat out, what you like and what you don't like, and what's acceptable and what's not.
What you see when you look at other people, for example, is their motives, their intentions, and how it all works together. And then why things happen. Now, that's kind of a change of the subject here, but when you with the ecosystem approach, you always start with yourself first. You always start with self-knowledge. And when you start to understand your own motives, when you start to understand how you lie to yourself, and that sounds awful,
but it's such a big thing, and
it's such a relief because you start to see yourself. And one of the hardest things to see is how you feel to other people. And so many people don't understand that.
No, it's true.
I remember that one actress that had this really irritating voice. I can't remember her name. I can't remember. But I'm sure she understood that her voice was irritating. But there's a lot of people in the workplace, and we've been in the workplace.
Yes, we have.
And they don't understand how they feel to other people.
No.
And so if you're marketing yourself, you need to know not only how you work, self-knowledge, but how you feel to other people. Correct. And that takes a lot. If you're producing a product or a service, you need to know how that service feels.
Exactly.
In terms of being attractive or not to other people.
Exactly. And it's really, really, really important. The biggest thing is that people assume that their energy is okay. But when you start doing the ecosystem approach, you soon see that, maybe this thing that I say or this thing that I do is not very attractive.
I remember a long time ago when I'd go and interview for jobs. I was thinking about, well, okay, what are they going to ask me, and how should I respond? Problem solution. Knowing now, what I would have said is, well, who am I? What am I trying to present to them? And who are they? And what are they trying to look? What are they looking for? What are they,
and do I really want to work with these people?
Yes. Exactly.
And by the way, that last question that I just asked, that's the question that you ask after you sit down with these people and you ask yourself, do I really want to work with these people?
Well, and if you're a business person, you may want to be more selective about your clients. You may want
Yes.
to choose your customers. And in this day and age, that makes a lot more sense.
Well, and by the way, we're not saying that you need to be a snob or judgmental. That's not what we're saying. We're saying help yourself be aware of all the different would it be caveats that are on the table that half the time you don't even talk about them.
Well, it's sort of like dating. There's some people you don't want to date, and dating and business clients,
Yeah.
it's not that much different, really. No. And it depends on, if you're just selling candy bars, off the street corner, it's different than if you're having a long-term
service something
relationship with a client, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Okay.
I think one of the best examples is the Coca-Cola example. And if you haven't heard about it, just briefly, there was a time back in the 80s, I believe it was, that Coke decided that there was a long time of dropping in sales for the regular Coke.
Okay.
And what's now Coke Classic. And they were doing taste tests. They were doing these focus groups, and they found that this other formulation of the taste of Coke was far more attractive to people than the regular Coke. So they decided to change it. And this is when, you've probably heard about this, people went nuts. People went crazy. They started hoarding the regular Coke. They did all these things. I just pulled this from the internet. The chairman of the board received a letter addressed to the chief dodo, Coca-Cola company. And he was always, he said he was more upset that it was actually delivered to him, because they must have thought he was the chief dodo. And another person wrote to him asking for his autograph, because he said in years to come, the signature of the dumbest executive in American business history. So they took a lot of flack for that change.
Exactly.
In
and the other thing I want to say is Coca-Cola is actually not anymore, but at the time they did this, it was, I'm going to say, I believe the largest company in the entire world of delivering selling things. And they never, from what I understand, they never really went out and asked the common man what he thought about taking a classic Coca-Cola off the market.
Well, the point of this story is that it was a program solution. They were looking at data. And they were trying to improve their sales. And so they had the problem, low sales. And so what's the solution? They didn't see the whole thing.
They didn't.
And I read this case study from Coca-Cola on the internet. It was very interesting because they spun it a little bit. They said, well, the takeaway for them was you have to take a risk. And taking risk is, sometimes when you take a risk, sometimes it doesn't work out. Well,
that part's true.
That's true. But they missed the point, is that if they had an energy approach, they could have seen so much more.
Correct.
And they would have so much more information.
Correct.
Many people, if you're trying to market yourself professionally in a company, they hope that if you just do a good job and don't make waves, you'll succeed. But that's really a false belief. The truth is that you're, because of programming, a lot of managers can't really evaluate performance. They have these formulas to evaluate performance, and they don't even know exactly why, how they have these assessments. Some of them are kind of negative. They might see a man as better qualified than a woman. They may see someone that's white is more qualified than someone of color. And those types of evaluations are kind of unconscious. Most managers are unconscious because they've been programmed.
Correct.
Problem solution.
That's right.
But if you want to self-promote, the first thing you do is you start an energy approach by knowing yourself, knowing your motives.
Well, and
how you lie to yourself.
And I want to say one thing here: when you have negative energy on you, in you, around you, I want you to think about, if you're looking at that from your perspective, think about it. In order to even understand the person that, say, has all that negative energy, you actually have to go through the negative energy to get to the truth about that person, that other person. Did I make that very clear?
So what you're saying is that that people that are programmed and not very energy literate,
Correct.
they read the outside veneer, which may be an illusion.
Because we're trained, we are trained to have that.
Yes.
So, Jason, what are the key points of this segment?
Programming with a problem solution approach focuses your thinking. Many solutions are invisible. That developing your energy abilities is essential for all types of marketing, so you can accurately assess the situation. And personal or professional marketing requires self-knowledge, which leads to understanding of others and their motives. Oh, that's so important.
Really.
And the ecosystem approach is designed to holistically give you abilities to market your business and yourself professionally.
All right. In the next segment, we're going to talk about how to become a marketing savant by developing refined intuition and using energy abilities, your energy abilities. Everybody has them. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about how to become a marketing savant by developing refined intuition and using energy abilities. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the Ecosystem Approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach. That's exactly what we're talking about today, for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. And that includes business as well. Jason, what do you mean by a marketing savant? You know, it kind of sounds kind of interesting. How does that happen?
Whether you're a small business or you're just seeking to advance your professional career.
Okay.
Understanding your own energy first, and then having the ability to read others and situations. Oh my gosh, it is a savant. It's savant-like. Okay. And we do it so naturally now, but we know where it came from,
right,
and how it happened, how we happened to get it.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to talk about is what refined intuition is.
Okay.
Because we see there are a lot of people that naturally have intuition.
Yes.
And some of them are pretty good. They can, they can talk to dead people,
Sure.
mediums, psychics.
But then there's others who have no idea that they actually are using their intuition in everyday life.
That's true. But my point about this is that when you have someone who's, whether they have 8 years of college, whether they have 3 PhDs, and they've been in the programming world, you have a perspective that's limited.
Yes.
And it's the same thing with intuition. If you have an amazing psychic, clairvoyant, medium, whatever, unless it's refined, it's like the person who's programmed over here. It's limited. Your viewpoint is limited.
True.
So what does refinement mean to us? For us, it means removing the negative energy that's attached to your essence.
Right.
And when you start to do that, you start to open up your intuition and refine it. Right. And as you do that, it's a natural byproduct of the ecosystem approach.
Right.
But as you start to do that, not only do you see yourself clearly, you start to see other people more clearly.
Well, and I want to add, in this refinement that happens naturally when you start the ecosystem approach, there's details that most of the time we would just either ignore or dismiss. And it's in those details often, not every time, but often, where we see where negative energy is and we clear it. And it's awesome because you feel lighter. That is one of the most common things that I hear from people all the time. I feel so much lighter. Thank you for the session, Patricia.
Yes.
It's
a big deal. It has great benefit for you personally.
Right.
There's so many professionals that are constantly reading, doing self-improvement type things,
right,
taking courses, that sort of thing.
Right.
This is where all the bang for your buck is. And there's very little buck. There's mostly bang. You know, at this point. So, one of the things you can tell, we were working for a Fortune 500 company for a while ago, and I won't mention the name because
it's not
contracts.
Yes.
But the truth is that they use this for one thing, but this is the vice president. She would love us to come in and she'd ask us to read the room, or she'd
Yes.
have these political issues that affected her, and she wanted perspective on it.
Right.
And the truth is, we were able to give that to her. But people then, if you're listening, you're thinking, okay, well, I should go to them and get this information because I have this particular problem, or
Right.
I could use this solution. Well, we want to help people create it for themselves, because
Yes.
there's a lot of issues that you don't want to go to someone else. You want to do it yourself, especially when it comes to knowing yourself and knowing how you work and knowing how
Right.
you operate.
Right.
The best person to know that is you, and then you can start seeing how that applies to the world. The other thing that you can do with this energy approach with refined intuition is not only do we naturally type people in terms of the Enneagram. So
Yes,
when we
we
meet
do.
someone, that person's a 2, that person's a 7, bing, bing,
Correct.
bing, we get it. Okay. But what's really valuable is typing a business or
Yes.
an organization or a group.
And helping people understand how to use that to their benefit.
Exactly.
Yes.
So if, for example, if your business is a 7 business, in other words, there's a lot going on, they're always trying to grow and expand.
Correct.
In general, you could say for that type of business that's a 7, you probably want to slow down and make sure you get the details covered.
Correct.
If your business is a 9 on the Enneagram, constantly want to play it safe and do what's comfortable in spite of the information you're getting.
Right.
Then for those types of business, expanding or trying something different or taking a risk is far more valuable.
Correct.
So when Coca-Cola said, our takeaway is that you should always take a risk. Well, we haven't typed Coca-Cola, but if knowing their Enneagram type knows whether that's really appropriate or not.
Correct.
And so reading the market and your competitors,
right?
Even for timing, all this comes from
huge.
energy.
That's correct.
Astrology is often helpful for timing,
Yes.
for example.
Yes.
When you have a metaphysical background using the ecosystem approach, because not all metaphysical training is the same. I got to say that.
We know that, yes.
And so we're talking really about the ecosystem approach, the ability to understand your own business, starting with knowing who you are, because who you are permeates all of your business.
Exactly. And that's one, if you take anything away from the show today, that the takeaway is that your energy affects so much if you have a business.
Most CEOs don't even understand why they're being successful. And that's so important. So
we've heard that one too. If
your business is successful and you think, well, do you really?
Yeah.
And some of that, we see that all the time where people they think they know this when the truth is over here.
Right.
And so when you're using the ecosystem approach, it expands your view considerably.
Yes.
So should we do the key points and then tell people how to clear?
Exactly. It sounds good to me. Jason, what are the key points of this segment?
Everyone can refine their intuition, and it's the most important aspect of being a marketing savant. That's one thing I didn't say. I want to say that real quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
When we met, you were naturally intuitive.
Yes.
But over the 20 years that we've been doing the ecosystem approach, your natural intuition, which was already pretty significant, is amazingly useful in a way that it never was before.
I'll agree.
And that's the refinement.
Well, and one of the, and I have to say this, I'm going to take this moment. One of the things I was trained because of what everybody else thought, that my intuition had no value. And
yeah, when I met you, your family kind of thought you were kind of weird, strange, crackpot.
Yeah.
Because you're popping off with these intuitive insights, and they had no idea what they were talking about.
Yeah. Where did she learn that one?
And they still kind of think that about the energy work that we do. The difference is that there's a practical ability that we live in the world that is so much more elegant than it used to be.
Yes.
And that comes from the refinement of the way we use this, our intuition in the world.
Correct.
And that's what we offer you when you're doing the ecosystem approach.
So okay, go ahead.
Refined intuition is a natural byproduct of using the ecosystem approach. You don't have to work on it specifically.
Correct.
reading expands your ability to see cause and effect, as well as understanding what's going on.
And
in
by
a
the way,
moment.
and that's huge.
Oh my gosh,
That
it's
is
so huge.
because those are oftentimes those details I was talking about that people miss.
Yes. And the ecosystem approach is constantly expanding your ability to be in this energetic world in an empowering way for you.
Correct.
We don't go airy fairy. It's about how can we make your life better today?
Exactly. And you start today. That's one of the biggest points, because when you start today, then tomorrow things can be a whole lot better. Let me just say it that way. So Jason, let's tell everyone out there how to do the clearing. And if for those of you who have not heard this before, listen in. And then in the next segment, we're actually going to do clearing. Right. So we're not just going to leave you hanging and have you figure it out for yourself.
So you can sit, stand, you can be walking, laying down, standing on your head. Your posture doesn't matter. And so when we say and to eliminate, in your mind's eye, gather up what we say to eliminate, whether it's emotions or barriers, veils and illusions, whatever we say to eliminate, and just gather that up in your mind's eye and your imagination and blow it into the processor. Jacob's putting the processor up right now, and you can see what it looks like. And it's really that simple.
Okay. And if you, well, the other thing is you can go to our website,
theecosystemapproach.org, and sign up for our free section. And that we have a picture of the processor there that you can download, print out, and put it
on your desk, put it on the wall, however it works for you. Then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to activate life force energy, which is the most powerful energy that any of us on this planet has access to. And this energy, we call upon it to go in and take the place where the negative energies used to be that we were just clearing. And in other words, it creates balance, it creates knowing, it creates a form of even security for us, which is absolutely incredible. So stay tuned when we come back. We're going to help you get started to clear so you can develop your marketing abilities, whether it's for business or marketing yourself as an individual. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to help you start to clear to develop your marketing abilities, whether it's for a business or marketing as an individual. This is so important to everyone for the simple fact of when you start to understand who you are, then you can market the best parts of you as well.
Yes.
I love that part. So, Jason, you ready?
I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the barriers so I can see that programming narrows your focus and makes you oblivious to what's happening. So take a breath, gather up those barriers,
and throw it into that processor. Remember, you don't want to just throw that energy away, because what happens is if you don't put it someplace specifically, such as the processor, then you're wasting your time. And you know what? Our time is way too precious right now to be doing that. And you don't want to get up and walk back into it. That's all there is to it. So with that said, we're going to shorten it just a little bit. And I'm going to say, and to eliminate the barriers so I can see that metaphysics taught by the ecosystem approach expands your view of the world around me and you. Take a breath.
So if you get this little buzz, this little inkling in your heart, this little cha-chink,
okay,
go to our website right now, theecosystemapproach.org, and sign up for our free section. You get weekly clearings. You get the little newsletter, a little backstory about what's happening with each topic. And there's a lot of free content there. It's all free. Do it right now. Theecosystemapproach.org. You'll be glad you did. This is the beginning of your metaphysics training.
Exactly. And the other thing is this is the one thing that you need to do that's good for you today.
Yes.
And by the way, we use the clearing every day, all day. And It's amazing.
We can't imagine we can't imagine anybody not having metaphysical training, even though some people do. And it's like it dumbs you down. I don't like this. I shouldn't say dumb on the radio, but it dumbs you down. And, so anyways,
all right.
And to eliminate the intense feelings of worry, anxiety, and stress that I have that can blind me from marketing myself or my business. Gather up those feelings of worry, stress, and anxiety, throw them into the processor.
And to eliminate any feelings of fear and hurt and shame that keep me from marketing myself and my business or the business that I'm in. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the barriers so I can see how programming focuses you in a bad way, in spite of all the talk about thinking outside of the box.
I got it. Take a breath. Well, and programming literally keeps you from thinking inside the box.
No, programming makes you think inside the box.
Excuse me.
And it keeps you from thinking outside of the box.
Exactly.
And if you don't even care about the box, it doesn't matter. Use the ecosystem approach.
Exactly.
And it's going to expand your mind.
Exactly. So, take a breath.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that self-knowledge is essential to understanding political games, which is what I have to do if I'm marketing myself within a company.
Correct. Take a breath. Okay. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see self-knowledge is essential to understand the political gains, and that you need to know that for marketing. Take a breath.
Clearing doesn't help us go through this list.
No, it doesn't.
You just repeated the one that I just
did. My apologies.
So here we go. And to eliminate the feelings of fear and terror that I have because I believe I'm not good at marketing, I can clear that.
Or reading a list. Yeah. Take a breath. And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that clearing my emotional life story is the best way to self-knowledge. And then, of course, good marketing. Take a breath.
And to eliminate any intense anger or resentment I have about my marketing competitors who always try and make me look bad. If you're marketing yourself within a company, this always happens. But I guarantee you, if you're just marketing your business, all the other companies want to make you look bad and them look good.
Yes, exactly.
Makes you mad. Take
a breath. And to eliminate any resistance I have to using an energy approach and refined intuition. There are many experts with how to
advise.
How to advise. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that all marketing is personal to my business and to me.
Yes.
It's not about one size fits all advice. Who are you and how does that affect what you're trying to do with marketing?
Correct.
And you, without that answer, you're just guessing.
Well, and you're also just one of many.
Yes.
Take a breath, everyone. And to eliminate the hate and anger I have about the competitive marketing environment that feels cutthroat. And it's the best reason to use an energy approach for a competitive advantage. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that refined intuition can be a real advantage for all types of marketing.
Yes, take a breath. Now, should we activate Life Force? Here we go. Follow me. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate Life Force so I can, see where I can take an advantage and be an advantage for marketing, but also so that I can understand not only who I am, but who my competitors are. Take a nice breath, pull in that Life Force energy to replace that negative energy we were just clearing all the way to the tips of your toes. Stop it right there, turn it around, and remove any negative energy that's left over. Go ahead.
And to activate Life Force so I can have hope to be a marketing savant by developing refined intuition and taking an energy approach to my life.
Yes.
Take a breath.
and to activate life force so I can trust and understand that approaching all types of promotion through an energy lens is very effective. Take a breath.
And to activate life force so I can decide to focus my attention on developing my energy abilities that create refined intuition.
Yes, take a breath. Pull it in, life force. Life force energy is power, everyone, and it helps you see what's standing in your way. Take a breath. And the last one, and to activate life force so I can be happy and healthy, aware, have clarity, awareness, and objectivity, and be able to see what I need to see, clear what I need to clear, and know that what I have to offer is very, very, very important now and in the future. Take a nice breath, pull in that life force energy, and blow out any negative energy left over. Jason, what are we going to talk about next week?
Next week is a really important show. It's about conception, abortion, and soul purpose and the way it really works.
Ooh.
There's so much misconception, and we're going to take a really interesting approach next week.
Of course we are.
Actually, it's going to be pre-recorded. It's going to be on Memorial Day.
Yes, it is.
And
by the way, if you're out doing all kinds of things, you can still listen to the show, because go to our
website, theecosystemapproach.org. It's recorded. So even if you miss it on that time of day, you can, and of course, I would never listen to that time of day because I'm doing this.
Yeah, but, exactly.
I always like to listen to the recording because it's on my time. And
okay.
So we really encourage you to do that. But This is going to be an important show because, this is the time of Roe v. Wade.
Right.
And it's being questioned. And there's a lot of stuff about, preserving life. Mm-hmm. What happens when you have an abortion? What happens to that life? Right. From an energy standpoint, when you have an abortion, what happens to that life when you have a miscarriage? Mm-hmm. How do souls choose a parent? Yes. Or choose a family? I mean, we're going to go into that. And frankly, it's going to be really interesting because normally we do our homework by using our intuition together. Yes. And try and answer these questions.
Correct.
But we're going to kind of do it while we're on the show.
And it's going to be
we haven't asked the question yet.
We have not.
So we're going to ask it on the show.
Exactly. So did today's show touch your heart in any way? Did it make you think in a way that you might not have considered before? Jason, what do you think?
So if we've touched you today, okay, we've made it really easy for you. How do you start your practice of metaphysics with using the ecosystem approach? Mm-hmm. It's really simple. Listen to our show every week. Mm-hmm. Easy. Sign up for our free section. Go to our website right now, theecosystemapproach.org. Sign up for our free section. You get the clearings every week. So the more clearing you do, the better it is. Mm-hmm. Clearing is cumulative. The longer you do it, the better you'll do.
Exactly.
And then, if you want to see more of us, you want to see the videos, you can go to our Facebook page, theecosystemapproach.org.
Right. And by the way, don't forget to like us because
while you're there,
because, that's Jason really, 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 really likes that. And so we'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern time. This is Transformation Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.